I want to get into a little bit of like your process when you bring an artist in and kind of like what people can kind of expect when they come to Brunjo. Like how do you kind of walk through like a new artist? They come, they're like, I got this song. Like, what's your process to getting them into the studio?
Well, I guess I'll start off. To me, and at least in my experience, the way I see it, everyone's different. Like there
Hmm.
really isn't like two people that are alike because
Yeah.
everyone, has a different story to tell with their art and their work. So that creates an interesting challenge where, you know, you kind of have to take a step back and look at what the needs of the artist are and what they're looking for and curate that, with them.
Hmm.
Don't overstep and try to be like, no, we're just gonna do this. Because there are a lot of people out there that do this, that
Yeah.
do that. Um, but that's really the first step and the most important step of the process is kind of just ironing out and seeing, what you have to work with and
Hmm.
what those artists getting to know the artist as a person first and foremost.
Completely.
Like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Getting to know them on like a personal level and being able to just communicate and talk with them. And so that you both feel comfortable. And then after that, it's, just the whole process of diving into what they're looking for, who influences them, listening to some production references,
Yeah.
things like that,
Hmm.
and then just bouncing off ideas really from there. That's the start of it if you want to like dive
Yeah,
deeper into
and
that
I
because
mean,
that's
we've had a lot of lessons that we've learned with that
yeah
because there's been a couple artists that we've come in or we've had come in and we work through the process with them or at least the way that we used to do it and it kind of led to the things that Jordan was saying like you shouldn't do like there were a couple projects where we were like cool this is going to sound really cool we're going to do it like this we're going to have
mm,
this on it we're going to do this and the artist is sitting back there like hi, I might not like that,
yes
and I think it was mainly because like we had just had the space open and we were really excited,
oh for sure yeah
and so we had kind of been blindsided by the fact that everything was up and it was running and we were going, and we had a sit down with that artist in particular, and we're like, yeah, no, let's do this again, and so we ended up restarting it again at some point and reworking it, but it really taught us like production is so different than just like recording in a studio. Like, we have people come in here who they'll bring in their whole band or they'll set up themselves in here because they just want to do something really cool. And
mm,
and that's great. You can help and you can produce a little bit when that's happening. But to have you as a producer on somebody's track
mhm,
is like they are not just trusting you, but putting their faith in you that you are going to follow their vision and that you will help kind of enlighten their vision to
mhm,
be bigger than they can imagine it to be. And to do that, you really got to know who they are and
mm,
what makes them want to grow as a person, the boundaries that they have as an artist and what exactly you can push and what you should not at
mhm,
all. And so like a lot of times with artists that we have that will come in for productions and stuff like that, we make sure to talk to them or like, we go out, we'll just get to know them in general, just to know the kind of person that they are.
mm,
Because someone you could have in here and the way that you talk to them on the talkback mic will completely like change the
mm,
way that they want to do something. And some people respond better to just positivity.
mm,
Other people want the criticism right then and there.
mm.
Some people, if you do that though, it's like it'll completely
They
shut
just
them
shut down and
down.
they're like, "We're done for the day." Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. So it's like I really, especially when we get a new artist on as a production kind of client, we make sure that we spend a lot of time on like the songwriting so that everything is ironed out. We want them to know like, okay, here are the steps that we can take. Here's what we should be figuring out now. Like if you want to do songwriting, let's make sure not even that the lyrics are necessarily right. We can change that when we do vocals,
Mhm,
but you want to make sure that your song form in general is
mhm.
set up the way you want it to, that it has the emotion that you want it to. Is it going to be in the right key? Because those are the kind of things you want to change then and there
Yeah.
before you move on, especially because we want to try and get it done as quick as possible. But yeah, basically just getting to know the artist and what it is
Mm,
that will allow them to grow creativity is usually where we start and where we try to keep it going the whole way. Like a lot of times there'll be people who don't want to have the artist in with them whenever they're doing a mix or
mhm,
a master and something like that. And that, I mean, I can understand how that'd work for some people, especially much bigger in the industry.
mm,
You've got people who are going on tour places. They don't have time to sit down and listen to a mix. But the artist that does want that, please, like I welcome them to come in, sit down, hear the process, especially because one of my favorite things that I love to see is whenever an artist is asking me, "That just sounds a little dull. I don't really like that." And I'm like, "I got that." And I can go in there and I fix it within 5 minutes, and whenever someone just then hears that, and they're like, "That's exactly what I was talking about." That's the moment that I live for, is to hear that.